hero webcomics here. Oh, great. That's what we get with our investment. Well, not really that big of an investment, but an investment nonetheless. You know? Wow. Uh, that really doesn't do well. Yeah, we can do better. We need to do better. But here we are. Wow. Okay. Even if I lean back, it's worse. That's really not cool. But at least you can see yourselves. I can see myself a bit better. I could say, in here. So you can see me a bit better. We've still got a lot of work to do on my lighting, but this is some lighting. Yes, this is an LED array, very inexpensive one, right there. Yeah, that's something. So it is. It's doing something. This thing likes to be very dark, to show off some very dark stuff. So yeah, which is interesting. Okay, which is interesting, of course, with our subject matter. How to fix Star Trek Discovery. Okay. Here's the deal. Let's see if I can like raise this up a little bit. Maybe that'll do better. Here's the deal with yeah. I watched Star Trek Discovery. Um, and I watched it on YouTube, which therein lies one of the main problems with the show. It's using a streaming thing that you have to pay extra for. It's not Netflix. It's not Netflix. But yeah, so you have to pay if you have Netflix, you pay for that, and then you have to pay for something else to watch the show. So people are like, yeah, including certain members of my family are like, nope, I'm not paying for extra money to watch that show when I'm already paying all this other money. So now it's not happening. So yeah, that's the first thing. You gotta get it off of that channel. Let it, hang, figure things out with whoever you have to figure things out with, and put it someplace where you can get more access to it. And now on, or of course you can just watch it on YouTube and you get nothing. So there you go. Next is of course the actual show. My goodness. People are comparing this show to the Orville. And at first, before I saw either show, I was like, "That's weird. Why are they comparing this to this silly sci-fi show, silly sci-fi comedy with Seth MacFarlane in it?" And it is a silly sci-fi comedy, but it is also a glorious send-up to Star Trek. It is glorious. The Orville is so great. How to fix the Orville? Keep making episodes. Keep making episodes so we can watch them and enjoy. That's how you feel, work on the Orville. Okay. Keep doing what you're doing. Okay, yes. Keep going. Keep going, guys. Great. But then came, but here's the deal with Star Trek Discovery. Uh, There were things I liked about it, but things, of course, I hated about it. Let's get the things I hated about it out of the way, because those things are the things that basically permeate everything else, that bring down everything else. This should not be a prequel to any Star Trek. Nope, definitely shouldn't be. Basically, because if I get closer, I get closer. No, there's like the lights in my way, But then I can move back and you can still see me. That is interesting how that works. But here's the deal. This should not be a prequel to any series, any Star Trek series. We've already had a few prequels. I've already seen, the Enterprise, and that was actually a fun one when they stuck to their own stuff, and didn't reference things so much. Unfortunately, they reference things a lot, which drove the show down, in my opinion. But when they stuck to their own stuff, it was actually kind of interesting to see how things were before Kirk and Spock. And then of course came the J.J. Abrams remakes during of Kirk of the original series, but in movie form, all kinds of cool special effects and cool other things like that. I liked it a lot too, and of course look for seeing more of them because they would be great. But as movies, but I am ready for a new Star Trek sequel. After Voyager, 24th century, new threats coming out. You know, and that'd be fine with me. If this had been set here then, in the present of Star Trek, then that would have been so good. I would have loved that. But because it's not, it drags a lot of stuff down. What's next? Yes, the Klingon redesign. The Klingon redesign annoys me when you say these are Klingons now. If you said, basically with the whole thing about this being in the future, this could be a different group, a spin, a offshoot of the Klingons, of Klingons who prefer to do things the ancient Klingon ways. Or they could be from back in the past. They could have been a massive group of Klingons. Say you had a time rift open up somehow, while these 24 houses, a ship containing 20, each ship containing 24 houses, the 24 houses of the Klingons, to go basically be representatives to try to come together or something. And they all were trying to come together and hang out, but then they got caught in this time rift, which caused all kinds of problems with the Klingon Empire. They said, we didn't, your convoy didn't come, so we're not gonna, join with you. Like what? No, lies. So they just started. They stayed fractured, and eventually they were so weak, too weak to defend themselves against their enemies. So they eventually had no choice but to work with Federation, and so then there's peace, things like that. That would be fine. Then the time rift comes to the present day of Star Trek Discovery, and it's like these Klingons were around before there was a treaty with the Klingon Empire, and then they see these foreigners in what they think is Klingon territory start attacking them. That would be cool, because then we're like, yeah, what, how dare you, come into our territory? This is our territory. It's like, no, it's not, and they're like, yeah, right, lies. They start shooting, so they could be from a long time ago, ancient times. Back when Klingons were just destroying everything, and that would be cool. That would have been cool too. An offshoot, some other plot, some more advanced race, something. But again, having them in the past messes that up, because now it's like, oh yeah, because they're in the past, we don't know what cloaking technology is. The Klingons have been cool for hundreds of years. Yeah. Oh no, they're back. They look like this now. It's weird. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. Because themselves, I did like these guys. They were actually, they did speak Klingon, and that was interesting. But I was okay with it because of the subtitles. But also because what they were saying was stuff that actually makes sense. Federation does enjoy, Federation, one of the things they do like doing is they come in, they basically will take over. They will assist members of the Federation, of whatever planets, they will say, okay, hey, you can use our technology to, help yourself, build selves up, And so basically it's like, this is a Federation planet now, it's not the same as the Borg, they assimilate, but it's still, you're using Federation technology. You're part of the Federation, you're hanging out with us, being all cool, but then it's like, they're like, oh my gosh, the Klingons are like, oh my gosh, you guys are just taking over everything, you'll take over everything, and, our way of life will be at an end. Definitely some Star Trek 6 stuff that I did enjoy. And then the Klingon, these guys, I forgot his name, what's his name? The main Klingon guy, was like, yeah, I want to remain Klingon. This is our thing, to stay strong, as together, fight against these people who they say they come in peace, but of course they have all these crazy weapons and stuff and technology, and they stuff like that. It's crazy, they're taking over the place. I kind of like that, because then of course it's like the whole xenophobic thing that is possible with the Federation doing that, So that was cool. The bad guys, other than the fact of the way they look, which I can forgive because they can be, if it was explained in a way that made sense, that was cool. But, that was cool, and of course his relationship with the other Klingons, especially the albino one, was so good too. But yeah, so then of course you have our heroes, and this is an issue here. This Michael is not my favorite, but She, in my opinion, could have been good if there was less weird stuff going on with her. Okay. The issue with one thing you have to deal with is certain issues with her story, her backstory, and certain characters, which again shouldn't be in the past. you know, basically cause issues. Okay, so she was on a Vulcan, human, a Vulcan human science. Yeah, it's a station outpost as a child. It was attacked by Klingons. So then it's like, okay, so Sarek, Sarek decided to used his mind meld to stop, to basically um, bring her back from the brink of death. So I was like, okay, that's cool because it's like, hey, stay strong. I'm using my mental energy to help you stay alive. Okay, now our minds are linked. Our minds are, that's fine. But then you go, okay, now that you're back, and then he raised her as basically the Vulcan way of life. Fine with me. That was fine with me. I had no problem with that. It was really cool to see that because then, of course, she had to deal with, certain. There was like a test that she had to do in school where she was. They basically said how many people were killed on this Klingon terrorist attack. I was like, oh. She's like, because she was at that attack, so she's traumatized by that. She's like, oh my gosh, it was terrible. It was cool stuff. I love that. But then she goes on board the ship, on board that one ship, and she's like, being all, and it's all out of order and weird, Christopher Nolan style, which kind of annoys me. But which kind of annoys me because of course you don't get to see the progression, but still. The main issue was the girl was like, okay, now, get to the point where it's like, hey, we have to fight these guys. We have no choice but to fight these guys or they'll destroy us. And the captain's like, no, we're not going to shoot first. Come on, For the Federation, we don't do that, And then she tries to take old mutiny. And it's like, even when she mutinied, to me, when she tried to mutiny, it was just like, okay, yes, you knocked the captain out. But you didn't tie her up or lock her in a room or something. What? And so she got back up like, crap, knocked me out. That's it. She attacked me. Gun out, like phaser out. I'm like, you're relieved of duty. I'm like, jeez, you could have done that. You could have put her in a room, locked her in a room, and just been like, yeah, stay there for a little bit. Yeah. So she said she wants us to fire, but it didn't happen. Then there was the issue with, basically, she made a lot of weird decisions. Coming out of the Med Bay while still irradiated. That was a little weird. Then the whole thing with the Brig force field thing. I'm like, okay, someone's gonna make a comic about this. I can just tell because they're like this. Hey, if this force field, the force field's gonna drop. We're exposed to the active space because that was after they started fighting. After the battle began, they got damaged and they had to retreat. She was in the brig, and then the brig was separated, basically, separated from the rest of the ship by wreckage, by empty space. So it's like, hey, computer, if you don't let me out of this thing, there's be a way to let me out of this thing to get to safety. So it's like a safe part of the ship, and there's like a safe part of the ship over, somewhere that's guarded by that has force fields on it, has a force field on it or something like that. It's like, okay, look, hey, why don't I, if you, let me out in a certain way, open up a nice hole small enough, if the force field is going to go out, then I'll be exposed to space, then I'll die, But if you open the door, if you open the force field enough for me to be blown out by the release of pressure, air pressure, then I'll be able to fly out through space to the other force field of the where there's the other force field where it's a safe part of the ship. You can open a hole for a little bit. I can go in, close it up, and I'll be fine. I'll only be exposed to space for like a few seconds. Like, okay, this is a little sketchy, but yeah, I can understand sort of how it would work because then it's like you're just going so fast. You don't get hit. You're not exposed to space too long. you go through the whole, you're fine. But then after a while, I realized it was an issue. So, but she did it anyway. So she did it. She, the computer finally agreed and was like, okay, I don't, I'll allow that because, you'll die if I don't do anything. So it's like, okay, ethical speaking, that's bad. So ethically speaking, I must do what's ethical. Okay, so do the plan. J.J. Abrams, Star Trek Into Darkness style, fly through a little hole, flies through the little hole of the force field through space, through the force field of the other thing. Okay, she's there. There's a problem. Okay. Do you realize how fast you're going when you do that? She said, I'll only be exposed for a few seconds. I'm going through so fast. Yeah. How did she stop? How did she, stop moving? Look at that. No, it would have been a cartoony thing, bad TV stuff. It's like, oh, I made it. Oh, sorry. She could have got killed by that. She could have at least horribly injured enough to not be able to move on for a while. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. But yeah, it's just like, I'm fine. Hey, we can do this thing. All right, I can help you. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's weird. That was weird to me. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a comic somewhere. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to that one. Anyway, but then the grand finale. Yes, basically, before the grand finale of stupidity. First of all, you have this interesting relationship between the captain, between the crew. Oh my gosh, went a bit long here, aren't we? Yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I think okay. We're gonna go for a little while. You have a great relationship between the captain, between the crew, and that's okay. I have no problem with this. Relationship between the captain, with the captain, with certain members of the crew, including that guy, the guy with the weird face whose people are eating like livestock. That was kind of cool because he's like, I can tell when the danger's coming. Our people are basically, that's what we live for. We basically try to stay alive as best we can. We're prey animals. We don't want to be. So we gotta get out of here. This is some stuff. That was cool, but. The main focus was Michael and the captain, and that was kind of cool too. I like their relationship, but then things got a little too crazy because it's like, hey, now that we're not, I that I'm okay now. I didn't, I was, again, there's interesting stuff because she's raised Vulcan, so basically she's trying to resist her emotions, but of course she, has is not there's the whole issue of her dealing with her emotions anyway, and I was like, okay, that's fine, deal with your emotions, deal with the fact that you have emotions, you have to deal with that. But then comes this point where it's like, hey, if we capture the Klingon leader alive, then then he'll be dishonored because he's alive. Klingons love their battle. They love to die in battle and be, remembered as martyrs. So if you capture this guy alive, then he'll be, he'll be disgraced, and then they'll lose hope and won't want to join with him or any of his people. That'll be great. So, but the one is, okay, here's the deal. There's two issues. Number one, I saw Angry Joe's review and I was like, okay, really? Are you sure? Then I looked myself and I was like, they are sure. They only the captain, only she and the captain go. Onto the Klingon ship. Yes, they damaged the Klingon ship before in a pretty clever way, but it's like, what? There's a Klingon ship full of large monster dudes of large scaly monster dudes whose only goal in life is to basically beat each other, basically kill things, and you're just going to send two people over. Yes, you may have advanced combat skills, one girl, captain, she's also a soldier, But, and then of course, Homegirl was trained on Vulcan, so she probably knows some good stuff. But still, you can't just send two people over there. You cannot do that. To capture somebody, there's like a bunch of people there. It's ridiculous. I'll see you guys next time. Well, in a little bit.